having those uncomfortable conversations.
But it's not even going to be the parents who are going to provoke those conversations. It's going to be the kids. Because the one thing that social media has allowed people to do is to connect from all different cultures and backgrounds. No longer do you only able to learn about other cultures from what the media decides to show you on TV. You can connect with people all over the world from Instagram, from Twitter, from Facebook. So I think that's going to be the key to really bridge the gap and say, man, okay, because this, I'm going to tell you a story. I'm not going to tell you who the player is, right? But when I came to the Texans, I went to work out with my teammates, my new teammates before. And when we were sitting on a bus, one of the white players had got up and was telling his story. He was like, I don't even know how we got on this topic, but he was like, the first time I saw a black person was when I went to college and I got robbed by him. And I'm like, come on, man. Like this is fitting the stereotype that, you know, the media portrays everybody. I'm pretty sure the first time you met a black person, you didn't get robbed by the black person. But this is the type of stuff that's being put out into this world. But what I think that is going to really change the way that the media perceives African Americans in this country is that you're able to connect with people all over the world. Like I said, and you can come to my page and say, no, we're not all criminals. We're not all out there just doing harm to other people. So you're able to see the real us, and then you're able to go back and have those conversations with your parents. And that's something I've been seeing in a lot of videos that's been on social media is kids starting those conversations with their parents, say, hey, they're not like the way that you try to say that they are, but they're better than that.
Right. There it is, man. There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, my man Devin Still has been laying down the law on the Clutch Vision podcast. We got one more thing to do. You know, one more question. You know, throughout this pandemic, throughout, 2020, everything has been going crazy. What type of motivation do you give to the rest of the world? If all 7 billion people were listening to you right now, what's the plays that they need to make in order to get through the rest of 2020?
And just to try to control the controllables. There's a lot of things that are out of our control right now, but there are some things that are in our control, and we need to put the focus on those areas of our life and try to maximize those areas as much as possible. You know, one of the things that I decided to do as soon as this pandemic hit was to go back to school. So I went back to school at the University of Pennsylvania to get certified in applied positive psychology, because I know during this time, a lot of people are hurting right now. And I don't want to just go out here and be somebody that's just talking just to talk, just trying to motivate people. But I want to actually give people tools and resources that they can use in order to become the best version of themselves, in order to experience subjective well-being in our life. So that's one of the things that I decided to take control of in my life during this time, during this pandemic. So just look at areas in your life where you're able to focus on right now and then just maximize it. Go as hard as possible in those areas.
Dope, brother. Dope. Listen, we got one more thing to do, man. We're going to play a little game. That's cool?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we're going to play this game. It's called In the Clutch. I'm Kenny Clutch, and that's In the Clutch. And you guys might hear Christian coming down soon, but we're going to play this game called In the Clutch. In the Clutch, INDACLUTCH, stands for Inspirational Dancers Creatively Linking Upon the Culture of Hip Hop. So, Dev, I'm going to give you one letter, and you give me a positive word to go with that letter. Cool?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we go. C.
See. This a timed?
Nah. but we kind of want it rapid fire though.
And you said for inspiration.
Yeah, anything positive. Anything positive.
Culture.
There you go. Okay. L.
Love.
Everybody says that. U.
Uniqueness.
Okay. T.
Time.
C again.
C. Care.
H.
Honesty.
There it is. There it is. My man Devin Still in the building. Listen, big boy, let everybody know.
So accept it. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. Accept the situation that you're in and then decide to change it, because I'm telling you guys, it's a decision.
Right.
Think about this, dude. When you have a bad day, because
Mm-hmm.
people always say, oh, I had a bad day. You chose to have a bad day. They're like, what do you mean? Dude, you choose how to react to everything. Yes. I could walk up, say, get out of my way, punk. You could choose to say, I'm sorry, sir, and keep on walking, or you could choose to fight me. Well, let's say you fought me. Hey, you got pissed. You fought me. I fell down, busted my head. Now you're in prison. Why me? Well, because you reacted with anger.
Right.
Well, I ain't no punk. Okay, well, good. Then you chose to not be a punk.
Right. Right.
Like, dude, to me, it's like if someone said, hey, Brad, I'm going to give you $100 million, but you got to act like the biggest punk on earth for 30 days or 3 years. And I wanted that 100 million more than I wanted my friends to think I was cool. Dude, I'll be the biggest punk there is. Why? Right. Because, dude, once I make a choice, that's all it is. So you choose how you react, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're having a bad day, my question to you would be, why? And then you'd say, well, so-and-so did this and such happened and this happened and that happened. And you chose to react the way you reacted, right. which means if you think about it, dude, when you have a bad day, you chose to have a bad day.
Right.
Isn't that crazy?
It is, man, because you know what? Last summer, I'm driving. I tell this story all the time. I'm driving down Route 130 where I live into a ShopRite. It's, and I'm going into a ShopRite and I'm coming around this circle. There's this dude about 20 feet in front of me on a Harley Davidson, right? Middle-aged guy or whatever. And, in the mirrors of the cars, it says objects seem closer than they appear. So I'm a pretty good distance away from him, but I'm coming up around the corner. He starts honking his horn, starts cursing at me, flips me the bird. So I'm like, oh, snap. Like, where I come from, like, we don't take that lightly, right? But like you said, choices. So I pulled up on the dude, right? I blocked him into his parking spot. And I rolled down the window. I said, excuse me, sir. He says, well, you're sitting there, you're coming around all fast. I'm on a bike. Like, he looked a little flustered because his glasses came off. He dropped his headphones. He dropped everything because he didn't expect me to pull up on him. And I let him go off. And I'm just sitting there and just letting him yap. And the next thing that came out of my mouth, I said, excuse me, sir, I was never going to hit you. I just wanted to tell you that I love you. And he stopped and he was like, well, dang, man, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. I'm just, I get a little flustered. I get a little scared and, I'm on the bike and everything. I'm like, dude, if you're a little scared on the road, maybe you shouldn't be driving a Harley Davidson, man. Like, it's a little bit dangerous. But you never know, like, I could be somebody else. Your choices in life, like you're saying, can make you go this way or can make you go that way. You can go to defeat or you can go to success at the end of the day. I could be somebody with a gun that pulled the window down and boom, you're done just because you made that choice. But on the other
100%.
hand, yeah. So on the other hand, I chose to sit there and just show this dude some love because evidently you needed some love because you're angry.
Well, that's because you're a good dude. But there's a lot of people that wouldn't have made that choice, and whatever would have happened, and they would have said, "Why me?" Mm-hmm. So when you those are examples and extremes. But I mean, when we're talking about just success, making money, things like that, it's like when I come home sometimes, man, I don't want to do anything. I just want to freaking watch TV. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? That's a choice.
Yeah.
I get up in the morning. I don't necessarily want to go to the gym. Guess what? That's a choice. So when these fat people are sitting around, people are like, dude, you can't say fat. Well, dude, you can call it what you want, but it's fat. So again, you're a big old fat dude and you sitting there blaming everything. Well, I got a thyroid problem. Dude, you don't have a thyroid problem more than likely. Okay. You got a lazy problem and you got a choice problem. So again, I don't mind. I got a couple brothers that are fat, but at the end of the day, I've been fat and I get fat because I go up and down, man. But at the end of the day, it's like, look, live with the choices that you make and take responsibility. Go look in the mirror because that's the person that's causing most of your problems. And that's the same dude that can fix them. Okay. But you have to make a choice and you have to be willing to be uncomfortable. Just like if you go to the gym and you walk in and you leave and you're comfortable, you didn't get uncomfortable. Well, I bet you anything, nothing's going to happen. Yeah. Okay. The uncomfort, the pain of the 5th and 6th and 7th rep, that's where the growth comes. Mm-hmm. Coming home from ShopRite and then putting another 5-8 hours in that you don't want to, man. That's where the freaking growth comes from.
Right.
It's the sacrifice and the commitment to be uncomfortable. If you think about it, it's weird because I've sat here before and thought, man, this is like a dichotomy. This is like a mirror. It's almost like a cruel trick, because if you really want comfort, which is success and money and all that, if you want comfort, you have to seek discomfort. Because if you seek comfort, you're going to end up uncomfortable. You see what I'm saying? Because if you just seek comfort, you're going to end up uncomfortable.
Right.
But if you seek discomfort, you're going to end up comfortable.
Yeah.
So again, that's why I said you're wrong, dude. Because like just because you're working at ShopRite, dude, don't mean nothing. Like, dude, I've seen people get out of prison with nothing but a damn, bag of clothes.
Right. That's it.
And make millions of dollars.
Right.
And they had to go through hell. They had to, swallow their pride. They had to, do more jobs than they wanted to do. It wasn't fair. Boo hoo hoo. But some people say, man, this ain't fair. This ain't right. And then some people just go, dude, I don't really care what it takes. Right. So I'm here to tell you, I shouldn't be where I'm at. And the reason I'm here is because I basically, I didn't do it intentionally, but I put up with some serious crap for a long time and didn't even know it. Like Gary Vee, he'll tell you, are you willing to eat shit? Well, I didn't realize I was eating it. Right. It was, I thought, I was too stupid to realize I was going through tough times.
Right.
Somebody said to me once, dude, what was it like to hit rock bottom? And I said, I've never hit rock bottom. And they're like, didn't you say you were homeless one time? I'm like, well, yeah, but I was sleeping on the beach, dude. Like, dude, I was in LA trying to be an actor, didn't know anybody, ran out of money, had nowhere to go, didn't want to go back to Oregon. So I said, screw it. I'm going to sleep on the beach. So for about 2 weeks, I slept on the beach. People thought that was rock bottom. I didn't. Crazy.
It's only what you define it.
That's right.
Define as rock bottom. Now, let me ask you this, right? So as we're coming to a close here, as we're going through the COVID-19, right? And I've been asking every person that's been coming on the podcast, I've been asking them the same question, right? You and you pretty much already summed it up or whatever, but maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on it. You got the world hearing you right now. You got every single ear, every 7.5 billion listening to you right now as this crisis is going on. What words of encouragement do you give to them to continue to move forward?
Man, that's some pressure right there.
Yeah.
To continue to move forward,
yeah, I
would probably just say, follow me. Follow me.
Yeah.
I'll show you the way. But man, I number one, you've heard this too shall pass. So a lot of times people are saying, oh, what's the world going to be like after this? Dude, listen, have you ever been on a diet where you had a cheat day and you went out and ate everything? Man, as soon as this is over, dude, everyone's going to be out getting haircuts, going to games, doing something. People go, well, not if they don't have no money. Dude, the money's going to be there, okay? The money's always there. There's no shortage of money, dude. There's just shortage of people willing to go after it.
Oof. Yeah. There it is.
I'm telling you, dude, the money's out. The money's going to be there. Now, listen, dude, there's like right now, Jeff Bezos got $24 billion during this. Dude, the money just transferred to Bezos because he's got Amazon.
Right.
So when this is all over, dude, the money's going to be redistributing. You going to go get yours, or are you going to sit there and blame the fact that you went through COVID and you lost your job and you lost your business and you lost your wife and blah, 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 blah. Like, dude, I get it. Trust me. I've been there. I understand. It's painful. It hurts. But so what? Next. Do you want to stay there? Do you want to stay there? Keep blaming the world, or go look in the mirror and say the only person. And then you get up off your ass,
right?
And you go out there and you do what it takes. Now, again, if you don't want it bad enough, that's when you need to change what you want.
Yeah.
See, a lot of times people will give up. They'll spend a year doing something, then they'll give up. Then they'll spend a year doing something, then they'll give up. Then they'll spend another year doing something, then they'll give up. And then 10 years later, they're nowhere. And they're like, look, I've been working my ass off. Dude, you gave up 10 times.
Yeah.
Like, dude, if you want something bad enough, you will not give up.
You got to keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. I went to LA to be an actor. I was going to be a movie star. I had a Levi's commercial. I got a starring role in a movie. And, you know, I came pretty damn close a couple times. But when I was in LA, dude, I didn't make it, obviously. And I literally went broke. And I got so tired of freaking being a broke ass starving actor that I gave up. Now, someone said, well, you shouldn't have gave up. Well, now look. Look. Now I can go make movies if I want to.
There it is. Woo.
So at the end of the day, dude, sometimes you can give up. But at the end of the day, if you want something bad enough, you won't give up. And you won't worry about the pain.
Yeah.
Unless of course, which in a lot of cases, this is true. It's not something you need to learn. It's something you need to unlearn. There's people out there that literally have been taught to be average.
Yeah.
And their parents did it, and the school system did it, and society did it. You know, it's like, dude, you cannot listen to other people.
Right.
You cannot listen to other people. It is possible. Go ask 100 millionaires. Go ask 1,000 millionaires, and you will realize that they're all saying the same shit.
Exactly.
Dude, we're all saying the same thing.
Same thing. Right. Hey.
Yeah, like I listen to all the people too. I'm reading all the books. I'm listening to all the podcasts. I'm doing the same thing.
Right.
And I'm like, yep, that's true. Yep, that happened to me. Yep, that's true. Yep, that's true. Yep, that's true. And it's like, dude, there's no secrets. Okay, people always ask, Brad, what's the key to success? And I say there is no key. It's a combination.
Right.
Okay, it's a combination.
Ooh.
And everybody has their own.
Lighter. Fire. Yo, we do this in Jersey, so that means it's hot.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Bang, bang, bang. Yo, so check this out, man. I want to play a little game with you to end it off, okay? So they call me Kenny Clutch. Clutch is an acronym. It means creatively linking upon the culture of hip-hop, because I'm a professional dancer, you know. So years ago, I started a company called In the Clutch, which is inspirational dancers creatively linking upon the culture of hip-hop. So each letter I give you, you give me a positive word for the people.
Okay.
Okay. So you ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go. C.
Courage.
L.
Love.
U.
Unbelievable.
T.
Termination. Or no, I was thinking determination, but that don't count. That's a D.
Right.
T, tenacity.
C.
C, I got to go back with courageous again.
Okay. H.
Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, the real Brad Lee just laid all the bombs on y'all. If y'all better replay this thing for your mama, your auntie, your uncle, your grandma, your grandpa, your stepsister, your stepdaughter, your niece, your uncle. I don't care who it is, your co-worker. Somebody needs to listen to this. Replay it over and over and over again. My man, where can they find you at?
Man, I'm usually on Instagram at The Real Brad Lee. That's spelled L-E-A. People say, is that Leah? I say, only if you drink Tia.
There you go. There you go. Now, really quick, I just want to do a quick plug because I just looked on. You have an affiliate, excuse me, you have an affiliate program going on right now. So you want to, let's get a shout out for the affiliate program on how can they get involved with that?
Well, dude, I mean, when this COVID thing hit, man, the first thing I thought about is how many people are out of work and scared that they're not going to be able to make money. So I threw up LSVT Army, which is basically Lightspeed VT Army. And it's a training system that'll teach you how to basically do the business. It's not that difficult, but it's an affiliate army that allows you to sell my technology, that sells every day to big companies and individuals, you know, Tony Robbins, Damon John, World Series of Poker, UFC, you know, Gold's Gym, and the list goes on. Like, all you have to do is log in. It's free, and it'll train you what to do. And if you don't like it, quit. But if you want to make a little side money, a little side hustle, I've got people making, you know, $500 a month, and I've got a couple people doing 40, 50 grand a month. And it's all recurring revenue because you're basically selling a software. And it's an interactive training software, and all the training's there. So again, go to lsvtarmy.com, register, pop in there. You'll be trained. You'll be given all the tools you need. And then it's just up to you. Do the work, get paid. Don't do the work, man. Hit me up in the DM and we'll talk
my
later.
goals to
There
say,
it is. I'm gonna put that link in there.
And I always worked out like awesome, but I didn't like I wasn't obsessive about it because ultimately my goals were to stay there. So I did everything I could to stay there. So I got 10 years out of it, and that was a blessing. But it could have been more. So I think now my goals is like a father. And like Kenny, I know you know this feeling, and I can't describe it to anybody who's not a father, but maybe for some of the upcoming fathers. But like, I remember like when my daughter was born, I remember looking at her. The second I heard her voice, I felt this feeling that the money in my wallet was gone because it was hers. The choices that I made were hers. Like I live for my kids now. If that makes sense. Like that was my mind. Like everything just flipped because, like ask yourself if you're selfish. Like your screensaver is probably the thing you value most on your cell phone.
Bruh. Real rap.
Like, and indirectly, you and the family. Yeah. Right. Indirectly, whether you say it or not, it's just like, does it? Like the things you even post on Instagram to a degree.
Yeah.
Like, they'll show like the most important things in your life. And like, obviously some of us, post for other reasons, but generally I would say 80 to 90% of the time it is like, obviously I use my account for business rather than family because I want to protect my family.
Right.
But you immediately push those things. Like if you ever go to a girl's page, and fellas, I'm gonna talk to you single fellas right now.
Right.
And everything on her page is a selfie of herself. She's selfish and consuming herself.
Right.
That's the most important thing in her life. And when I was 20 years old, you know what I used to do? I used to have a photo of myself, and I would put a screen on it, and I would put like a background on it, and I would clip pictures of myself and send them like and store them together. And how could I but I was selfish at 20 years old. So it tells so much about who you are.
Exactly. So you just got to be aware, man. Wow, brother. Yo, man, listen, we got like a little bit of time left. So I want to get this in. All right. In your opinion, right? Because I see you posted sometimes on Instagram, but I want you to let the people know, in your opinion, if the NBA ended today, who's your MVP?
If the NBA ended today, you have to take into account, honestly, that LeBron James is playing at a level that we haven't seen since Michael Jordan.
Right.
LeBron James gave us as a fan, selfishly as a fan, like before I was a player, I was a fan of the league.
Right.
He went head to head with Kawhi Leonard and beats Kawhi Leonard, guards him on one end, and on the other end takes the ball in his hands and closes out. That was the supposed to be the best player in the world. Then the next night or the night after goes against Giannis Antetokounmpo, guards Giannis straight up. The only other man who's been able to guard Giannis is Kawhi.
Yeah.
Giannis Antetokounmpo has dunked on so many people that you can only compare him to a young Shaquille O'Neal as far as scoring in the paint. Maybe not physically, but getting dunks at will. LeBron guards him straight up. Then LeBron goes at him, facilitates, gets his teammates open, just disintegrates Milwaukee. At that point, LeBron James is on the MVP trajectory.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to name an MVP to stop now, as we spoke earlier, I got to look at Giannis Antetokounmpo. Because through the length of a season, I saw consistency.
Okay.
And keep in mind, consistency from a guy who won MVP last year. Now, this guy who won MVP last year, even though we love LeBron and everything about him, he's become a better player. He scores more. He rebounds more. He has more assists, more three-pointers made. Hold on, Kenny, I'm not done. In less minutes.
Wow.
So when the MVP of last year's league improves, his team has the best record in the NBA. To this point, through your question, if the NBA stops today, I would have to reward Giannis Antetokounmpo with it. But keep in mind, like LeBron James, my man, when you see a sprinter, you see a sprinter with the monkey on his back, he's slowing down, and the dude got the crowd cheering.
Yeah.
LeBron was hawking him from behind.
Yeah.
Like,
heavy. Heavy. I probably, my personal opinion, I love Giannis's game. I think Giannis is next level, man. Like for real. I like Giannis. I like Kawhi's game, but for me, I probably would go with LeBron. And my reasons are a little bit different just because I felt like last year he had the groin injury, you know what I'm saying? And last year his, the team was it was all right, you know what I mean? But they wasn't, they was in fourth or whatever before he went down. But I just feel like this year LeBron just turned on a different type of mentality and a different approach this year than he did when from his first year with the Lakers. That's just me, so I kind of like wanted to see him get it this year. So right now that's my vote would be, for LeBron over Giannis, just because. And another thing is I feel like LeBron was going to turn it up even more in the playoffs. I've seen Giannis fold in the playoffs the past 2 years. You know what I'm saying? So he's got to get over that hump or whatever. But last year, Giannis was the dude, like hands down. Like there was no question there. But I think with the 2 games that we've seen with Giannis and then with Kawhi, like LeBron was just turning up. Like he was just getting, like, to me, he was just getting heated up, So that's my vote there. But yeah, man, we love having you on, man. I gotta have you back on, brother.
Absolutely, bro. Part 2.
Yes, we gotta do a part 2, man. We getting cut short and everything right now. I actually gotta go do a virtual dance class and everything. So you should tell your kids to hop on with the dancing dad. We about to get it popping.
Hey.
So where can everybody find you at?
Man. Very important.
Yeah, I took my daughter out on a date for Valentine's Day, So I'm like, we gonna go out and we gonna have some fun. I'm gonna teach you, because she's about to be 16 next week. So gotcha. I'm like, you gotta pray for me, bro. God pray for me, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I want to, got her the flowers, open the door for her, things like that. Like, listen, this is what, men, should do. This is what they should do for you. If they want the house, they got to buy the whole house. They just can't rent a room in the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, you got to get the entire house, and they got to give you the whole package, man. And I believe that, us as fathers, is so important to lead, our daughters and our sons, in the right way. And there's so many kids that don't have a father. I personally used to work in the YMCA, and there were, so many kids that I used to, they looked up to me or whatever. I'm like, hey, I'm Mr. Kenny or whatever to them. So it's like these are first, second, and third graders doing the morning after school program. And you can just see like a lot of them didn't have their father in their life. And as fathers, we're leaders. Like, how important is it for a father to lead his family, especially during this time?
It's super important. I mean, the thing about it is, your kids, your family, they're going to see the energy you project. And it doesn't mean that you have to, fake it till you make it, but they're going to see how you respond. And the thing I know about leadership, even being parts of football teams and being captains and leaders, emotions are very contagious, and it trickles down. So the thing that I'm trying to show my kids during this time is that you can still thrive, even in uncertain times. You can still have faith, right? Faith is in your control. It doesn't matter what happens. And honestly, It's not faith if it's not tested. So right now in these times, this is when we believe even more. This is when we trust God even more than we're doing right now. Mm-hmm. And so just be very conscious of the energy that you're portraying out to your children, and then have conversations. One of the things that I talked about on my podcast this past week, it's like 5 releases, but one of the releases that we're having is emotional release. Mm-hmm. And so we're just creating an environment where everybody can just get out their emotions. So Maria, however you feel, get it out. You're afraid, get it out. And we address it and we talk about it, or we just listen and not say nothing. But it's an environment where you're not judged. Myself, Tristan, if you feel stressed, let it out. If you want to scream, you want to break something, as long as it's not too expensive. But if you want to whatever, you're not going to be judged in this moment. So I think it's very important too in this time to show our families it's okay to not be okay. Yeah. But it's also not okay to stay that way, right? So we want to definitely change, and what's going to be the solution from this. So just being transparent again, I think is very important.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Yeah, man. I feel like, you know, the level of where we're at as a society, like, I believe that is going to change a lot of lives, as it already has. You know, I believe that if people, you know, hone in on, you know, what you're saying, what I'm saying here, and really take it serious at the end of the day. Like, people just have to take life a little bit more serious. I believe that we live in a world where we go to work, we get on social media, we come home, and that's it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like we live in this fast-paced world, right? Like, look at what we got. We got Instagram, instant, you know, Snapchat, snap. You know what I'm saying? Like TikTok, tick. Like, everything is so quick. Like, when you got started, when you left the NFL or left football, you know, did it slow you down? Did you take time to just like reevaluate and just slow down to figure out what the plan was?
Yep, I did. You know, I don't know if I would say, because I don't know if I had a plan. I probably, matter of fact, I know I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
My only plan was because I went through a period of depression. And so like I was in my parents' house. I remember I had like a studio set up and I was in the music, well, still in the music, but I was really into music at that time. So I would just go to the studio. I would honestly go outside. I'd just be coming in from going out to the club under the influence. And I was just sitting there. And it came to a day where I was like, you know, nobody really cares, you know, and obviously people in my life cared. But what I was saying to myself was the world is still moving on. And so you can keep sitting here being depressed, but your situation is not going to change. And that's where my tagline came from. It all starts with you.
Wow.
I literally looked at myself in the mirror and said, it all starts with you. And from that moment, I knew I had to go on a journey. And I'm still on this journey, by the way, of getting to know who I am at my core. And that's where it started. Like, who is Trent Shelton at the core? Like, stripped away from, you know, all these things that have influenced me my whole life. And who am I at the core? Like, what is my core being? And I'm still on that journey. You know, I definitely made a lot of progression in finding out who I am more. But that was the pause for me. And I think, like you said, too many times people don't even know who they are.
Right.
And so when we don't know how to deal with our emotions, we don't know who we are. We don't know where anger comes from or where this comes from. I'm always evaluating. Like, when I'm frustrated, I'm like, okay, where is this frustration coming from? And I try to get down to the root. But most people just, okay, I'm angry. I'm just angry.
Right.
And they just go on about their life.
And
they stack it.
Yeah. And they keep stacking that anger. My pastor, we had a conversation and he taught me something about anger. And the root of the word anger comes, you know, from the Hebrew language. God is actually asking a question. So the word anger, God is asking a question, where's the Father? Right?
Wow.
And then fear is also asking a question. God is asking a question with the word fear, and he's asking, where's the mother? Right? So when we're angry and we're looking at, you know, people in their anger, the first question we should ask ourselves is, where's the Father? You know, and no matter what we're going through, it could be let me phrase it like this. If you have your father in your life more times than not, you're going to be very slow to anger, you know, versus if you don't have your father in your life, you're going to be very quick, you know, to anger because, you know what I'm saying? You ever see that?
Yeah.
Like, have you dealt with people in life or whatever? Can you, you know, add on to?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. That you said that, you know, I never heard it broken down that way, but that's powerful, man, because I was just sitting there thinking, and yeah, man, I mean, a lot of people that I know like are guided by anger usually doesn't have fathers. I mean, we look at our community, you know, you know, like you look at it and kids that I coach that are fatherless and kids that, you know, their fathers aren't at the games or at practice, those are the kids that usually get get angry very quickly. And so that's interesting, man. Like, I think, that's facts.
It's deep. And I don't know if you watch All American, but so when you watch All American and then you see the Spencer, you see how much anger he has in like the first season, right? And why? Because his dad's not there. And that's my point. So to the men out there, you know, Trent and I, we chopping it up. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and all that. Listen, if you're not there for your child and you don't want 10 years later or whatever, come back and somebody's come knocking at your door angry, listen, you got to be in that life. You got to be there. You got to, listen, if you got a problem with, I don't like saying this word, but your baby mom or the mother of your child rather, listen, man, like you got to learn how to fix that. They looking for that security. You know what I'm saying? And speaking of security, we learned that, the first major need of a woman is security. The first major need of a man is honor. In your opinion, how important is that in your relationship as well too?
I think it's right the nail on the head, man. I think it's very important. I think when I think about Maria, even with her, as we talk about love languages or her needs, definitely it's just feeling safe. Her thing is safe, just all around, whether it be, and I don't think it's so much like with her just, it's just financially, obviously that is a thing for all of us, we got to live, but I think hers just feeling safe. She lost her dad when she was a teenager. Her dad died in his sleep. And so she's always, search for that security from a male. And as far as with me, definitely, I'm big on honor. I'm big on just support. Like that's my love language. It's support. Like you can tell me, you can send me things and gifts. I'll appreciate it, but it's nothing like support and honest and honor and loyalty. Like that's everything to me. So I think that's very accurate.
That's dope, man. That's dope. Listen, man, we're here with Trent Shelton, man. Listen, yo, I love like chopping up with you. So when was it when you first went viral? Like when was like the first video that took off? Yeah. And how did you feel when it happened too?
Man, it's crazy. It had to be okay. It's two videos. It's two videos. One was Breaking Your Own Heart video. That was like at that time, like viral for me at that time. I think it had over 1 million some views. Breaking Your Own Heart. And then my big video that like went like out of this world was Friends, my spoken word Friends. And it was crazy, man. It's just, I don't know, even to this day, it's hard for me to even understand like the scope of the reach, right? Like I don't even understand it to this day. And I got to a place where I try not to understand. I just trust God with it, because it was like, man, why are these people like I'm just me. Like, I don't get it. Even though what I feel I put out is, I love to put it out, but it's just like somebody said, man, this video changed my whole entire life and all these things. So God gets the glory for it. And it made me happy, especially Friends, because that was so personal to me. And when I wrote it, and I was just hoping, I was like, man, I hope this really helps people in friendships. And so when it did that, like, it really brought a lot of joy to my heart, like for sure. So viral for me is it impacting people. Like, I don't care about the numbers, whatever, as long as it's impacting people and in a way that I hoped it would be, then that's always a bonus for me.
That's dope, man. This will be a last, we're going to end it on this one. So you speak about, keeping like a tight knit circle, like the right people in your life, and getting, rid of the toxic people in your life. So for the new listeners, people that don't know you, give them that motivation, or advice on how to remove the toxic out of their life.
Yeah. So you got to ask yourself this question. Before you even ask this question, you got to think about every relationship in your life as bridges, right? It's leading you somewhere. And so what I had to realize in my life was, first of all, I had to take responsibility, because we always are in the blame. Like, it's their fault. And even though that might be true, that they might have gave you a certain type of behavior, you're choosing to stay there. You're choosing to accept it. And as they always say, what you surround your life around is what you will become. Your environment is everything. The illustration I love to use is like a flower. You can have a flower that has the potential to be the most beautiful flower in the world. But if you put that flower in the wrong environment, what's going to happen to that flower? It's going to die. It's going to wither away. But if you put that flower in the right environment, that flower will blossom. And so you have to think of your life as that flower and ask yourself real questions like, are the people around me, first of all, am I the person or the people that I want them to be to me, right? It starts with you. But then ask yourself, are the people around me people that I want to become, right? Mindsets are contagious. So ask yourself, do I want to catch what that person has? And if your answer is no, then I would I would think about changing your circle. And so what you can do is you can think about it like bridges. Are these people leading you towards, accountability? Are they leading you towards, growth? Are they supporting you? Are they leading you back to destruction? Are they leading you back to pain? And I say burn those bridges. People say don't burn bridges. And I understand that logic, because you shouldn't burn bridges over small things. You never know. But there's certain bridges in your life that need to be burned, because there's certain things your life cannot afford to go back to. And the longer you keep those bridges in your life that need to be burned, it prevents you from building the bridges in your life that need to be built. You know, so it's like my past relationships. If I would never let go of those past relationships, I wouldn't be married. Right. If I wouldn't let go of those past friends in my life, I wouldn't have a strong...
person and think we're the copycats.
Right.
So we always have to evolve. So for me, understanding that it's a bigger picture, it's not about me and success. It's not about what I'm comfortable with. It's really about making sure that our job is always to be there for the people. And as long as there's new problems that come about, we're always going to be on top of it.
Amen. And, I lost a family member to COVID, which was, for me, it was like, okay, Kenny, it's time to make this pivot. And it was early in the stages as well, too. You know? And this is when we're all like still kind of figuring out like what it is. We still really don't know, too much, but it was early. And I'm like, man, and the first thing I did was I hit my own family up. Everyone that was in my family, I said, I'm calling a meeting. Okay. We don't have these meetings enough, but I hate to do it during this time, but it still needed to be said. Yeah. And I was the, what do you call it? The introvert, I guess. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I was the introvert always growing up. And now I'm speaking, even more like, and now I'm an extrovert. And I say this now, like if you want an extroverted victory, you got to put in an extroverted effort. And in order to do that, like you're going to have to take some risk, and you're going to have to do some things, and you're going to make certain pivots. And that's what that was my message to my family. And I'm saying, listen, guys, I know that we keep up with each other online. We keep up with each other, via text message sometimes. But right now, like, we got to think on another level in our own areas and where we're at in our lives. Absolutely. And we got to make this pivot shift, and we got to do it now. We got to figure out, what it is that God truly wants us to do. What is your true purpose here in life? Don't just sit down during COVID. Don't just like sit down and just relax and kick back like, oh, okay, like, the president said stay in the house and then not do nothing. Right. No, you got to do something. And then the unfortunately, we lost that family member, and it was like I kind of already knew, but it just turned up the volume even more on the situation. Like, let's turn it up even. Let's turn up the volume. Let's not get down. God called them, and it was his time to go. Unfortunately, it was for this. But what's the lesson for us? So my question to you is that, what's the pivot for people that can't even fathom right now on what is going on? How do they shift from two places and come from two areas? I'm coming from the business area, the business side. Yep. And then I'm coming from that general standpoint, that person that just goes to that 9-to-5 side. Like, how do they make that shift?
That's an easy answer for me. Is everything is virtual. Like, it's all about virtual experiences right now, business wise and 9-to-5 wise, right? So business wise, for anybody who has a business, it is definitely time to take your personal brand, your brand period, to the next level, right? Looking at what can bring money online, whether it's courses, whether it's an ebook, whether it is virtual events, whatever you do, you have to give a virtual experience right now, because all the attention is on our phones and on our computers. Yep. So it's not that your audience, your customers are gone. They're just not in the physical. they're now all reachable here. And actually, you have a bigger audience virtually, because now you can talk to people in Australia. Now you can talk to people in Nigeria. I was just looking at the stats that I have for my followers, and I have people from Nigeria following me.
Wow.
I have people from Canada following me. I have people from UK following me. And I'm like, yo, I wasn't even aware, right? Like Lagos. I'm like, oh, what is Lagos?
Yeah, like, where's that? Right. Right.
Asia, all this stuff. And I'm like, and it's a good amount. And I'm like, how do I attract? It's not like I hashtag, I don't know, put that. How does it? So you have to understand, people are looking at you, even though they're not buying you, right? Per se, they're looking at you, right? So biggest and the big word for this whole COVID for businesses have been pivot. You have to pivot into a virtual experience. DJs have done it. Shout out to DJ D9. Shout out to the whole versus battles and everything like that. Because you have to understand, these are people who make the most money off of events, touring, parties. These are things that are not happening right now. And they all created a virtual experience, social media, that not only brings brand awareness, not only brings some kind of education, entertainment, motivation to people's lives during COVID, but because they did that, their money went up, because you're serving the people during the time that they need it. Right? So you're looking at right now and like, yo, I can't make the most money, right? Well, people can't pay their bills. So are you really worried about you, or are you really, we're here for the people, right? So you have to be really realistic with that first and foremost. Second, if you're really paying attention to what's happening on social media, the people who are winning, whose money did go up, their price went up, are those who are truly serving during this time of COVID, right? So they're going on every week and providing entertainment for the people. Some are doing it every single day. Some are giving free events that they would normally do. There are concerts happening. There's giveaways happening, serving the people during the time that they need it. Because when you're there for people when they need it, they're always going to remember that, and they're going to be loyal, and they're going to be part of your tribe.
Right.
So your price goes up because you were there when their money was low. So no matter what you do, they're going to now find a way to pay you because you understood their needs at the time. So for businesses, I'm going to legitimately say, figure out a virtual experience that you can do that is indirect selling, that is going to add value to your audience, right? The second part, for my 9-to-5 people, if you have not started a brand yet, this is the perfect time.
There it is.
This is the perfect time. You can't sit here and say, my job is taking too much time. It's not anymore.
Nope.
Right? You can't legitly say that I don't know about my ideas. I don't know how to do it anymore. You have time to go on YouTube University. Right? And figure it out. You have time to sign up for some of these courses, get your knowledge up. You should be learning and executing during this time.
Right.
So you can create something for your own, as well as when your 9-to-5 starts back up, or if it already is, whatever, you able to take care of yourself financially.
Right.
Now, it's not going to go rocket like boom, right? It's not going to go off the chain unless you had the mask.
Right.
If you've been selling masks, you're out here winning. All right.
Yes.
But
real quick, just to let you know, my wife has been going in on the mask, like hard body. Her and my daughter, you know what I'm saying? They've been rocking out. My daughter even like created her own lip gloss.
Listen.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
listen.
My son Caleb, he's out here. He created this whole thing called Martian X, which is dealing with astronomy, and so we got him this telescope, and like they going. He's 11. My daughter's 16.
Yeah.
So it ain't no excuse. Like, let's make it happen, right?
Facts. I'm just saying that something like this, it's real. Something like this happens. What we thought it would never happen happened. A lot of people, the unemployment's at its highest. People are going through depression. People don't know what to do. Right. And so for you to make sure this does not happen to you, or it's a little bit easier next time, start creating something for yourself. Start creating that brand. So when it is time,
become essential.
Good. Absolutely.
Become essential. You got to become essential, something that people need. And this is why I think that, as a speaker in Eric Thompson, all this, the great speakers, what I've noticed is that we know that, number one, the depression has gone up, the child abuse has gone up, domestic violence has gone up. You know what I'm saying? The suicide rates are climbing as well too. And it's just like, okay, as speakers, we are the supplier to the people. And we got to make sure that, and we're essential as well too, because we got to give these people, the motivation that they need to continue to move forward. Some people, they just can't do it on their own, right? So I'm a huge hip hop head, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a hip hop dancer, you know what I'm saying? And I was thinking, I'm like, yo, who could I think that would be a motivational speaker in today's time that, is a great hip hop, artist? And immediately I thought Tupac, because I'm thinking like, dang, like Tupac was super deep with his words, just without rapping.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In your opinion, who do you think would be a great motivational speaker, old school, new school, in the hip hop world?
Instantly, I'm always going to say Nipsey.
Okay. Yes.
Nipsey for sure. Was all about ownership.
Yeah.
Was all about giving back to the community. So during this time, I feel like he would kill the game.
Yeah.
In giving back, because that's what he did naturally. Giving back during this time, I think Nip would definitely kill the game with that. I think Diddy has his moments, but I think Diddy's going through a lot. Diddy is not. He has had a rough storm lately.
Yeah.
If it was normal Diddy, he would be killing it. But he is going through a lot this year, like in past couple of months.
Not just this year, the past.
Right, like
in general,
the past year, he's been going through a lot.
Been pretty rough for him, And if I could say anything to Diddy or to anybody that, even if you're on that status and you're on, that level, it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter, like, what type of success that you've been able to achieve. We're all human. We all experience some type of hurt, some type of pain. Obviously, his profile is more glorified than most, because of his accomplishments and what he's done. But at the end of the day, people got to understand the man is still a human being and still goes through things. And I want people to just understand that it doesn't matter who you are in this world. We all put our pants on the same one leg at a time. You know what I'm saying? We all use the bathroom, like we all eat, so we have to understand that we have to be there even for him, right now. You know what I'm saying? He may not know us personally or anything. I never met Diddy before, but if you are listening, you know what I'm saying? Like, look, just keep your head up, brother. You know what I'm saying? Keep your head up. And he's always shown a level of, positivity to me, especially like, after Biggie was gone, and I just seen like the shift in him, and I became a fan of his music. And it's just amazing to me. So I think that we should always do more for, the people that are supplying us with great music, great tunes, and all about the positivity. What's your take on how we as a people should be there for, one another, for the people that have served us?
I think instantly your tribe is always going to be there for you.
Right.
Right. they're always going to show love as much as they can. Um, for certain celebrities, it almost seems unreachable, you know? So all we can do is make sure that we send some love, some comments, share whatever they have. Hopefully they'll read the DMs and everything like that.
Right.
As much as we know that they may be going through something.
Right.
Don't feel as if they may never read your stuff. You know, still do it off the strength because you want that same kind of vibe. You know, I'm big on the whole golden rule: treat others as you would like to be treated.
Yes.
And so if you are going through a hard time and you want people to be respectful but at the same time show love,
right,
because you're going to need it, then give that back, regardless of what their status is, you know, regardless if it is, you know, the highest of the high. Like it doesn't matter how rich or how poor they are, they're
Right.
still humans. And so yeah, I'm real big on just like giving the hearts, giving a nice word to it and everything like that, because it doesn't matter if they read it or not. I genuinely mean it.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I wanted to touch on another topic and everything. We got a little bit of time left, but
Okay.
I wanted to ask, you know, about the young women, you know. I mean, my daughter's 16 and she's at that level now where she's, you know, trying to find what she wants to actually do. She also she dances as well,
Right.
you know, and obviously we can't be in the studio right now or be taking class or anything. But during this the COVID-19, and you know, what kind of advice can you give to young females that maybe some of them may want to go down the route of the digital world and becoming you know, into editing and different softwares and stuff like that, and ITs, and you know, how do you pump up, you know, the women, young or old, it really doesn't matter, but how do you get them to that next level?
For me, I always say that the way you are is perfectly fine, right? And to try whatever you want to try, because there's no right or wrong for what's happening.
Right.
You know, you can create a whole brand for yourself on YouTube of how to tie sneakers, and people are going to watch it. There are people who legitimately watch people eat. That is a brand.
Right.
Right. The only thing that I always say is like, just be comfortable trying new things out the way you would try it out, not the way somebody else has done it. Like, because you are what's going to bring in the money. You're the one that's going to create the name.
Right.
You're the one that people are going to know. So go on. If you want to be a YouTube influencer, because I know a lot of young people are like, I want to be a YouTube influencer. I want to be on Instagram influencer. I want to be an influencer, right? You have to be yourself. All the influencers are themselves.
Right.
Even like I said before, the 8-year-old kid who's making $26 to $28 million opening up toys.
Yes.
What do kids do? They open up toys, right? When he grows older, he'll probably be doing something else. But in that journey of him getting older, we're going to see the evolution, and he's still going to make money for being exactly who he is. So if you like dancing right now, go dance your butt off, right? Document it. Show people what it is to be who you are, because there's somebody who is looking at YouTube right now, looking at Instagram, looking at social media, period, trying to relate to somebody.
Right.
And they're waiting for you to put out something that they can feel accepted about, right? And so it's never too early and it's never too late, right? Because the kids are going to need to start, but also the grown people are going to need to start too, because some feel as if it is too late. Like some females are like, you know what? Cool. Like, I'm just going to stick to this 9 to 5. I'm just going to stick to this. I can't create anything. You have experience. Let me talk to them real quick. You have experience that no one else has, right? That still needs to be out to the world, right? For the young ones, you have this new vibe this relevant kind of thing that we've never seen, that you are able to cultivate what we think about the world right now. Like, you tell us what is going to be trending, nobody else, right? And for the grown females, you have laid the foundation of what was before, right? You lay out the blueprint to make other people's lives a little bit easier, but you're being selfish by holding that in because you don't want to bring that out to the world because you care about what people say. So all I'm telling you is be whoever you want to be and just document it. And whether it's video, whether it's picture, whether it's written, we need that new vibe and we need that experience put out to the world, because there are people still struggling through depression. There's people who still struggling through identity crisis because you haven't arrived to what you're supposed to be doing.
Yes, 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 and yes. So ladies, y'all heard it, man. It's time to go to work. We got to go to work. Stop playing. We need y'all out here in these streets, man. Yo, so awesome, so awesome. So I have like one more question for you. Okay? I ask this question to everyone that comes on the podcast.
Okay.
Especially during this time because we're in quarantine.
Yeah.
And if Nikki has had all 7.5 billion people in the world, you had everyone's ear.
Yeah.
At one time.
Yeah.
What encouraging words would you say to them in order to get through this pandemic?
I would honestly say that you were perfectly made, and that just because the world is crumbling, you don't have to. You have to show everything that's happening in your world, because you're going to impact somebody just by living your true self. And so no matter if you are in the highs or the lows right now, there's somebody who needs to hear that, see that, read that. Because there's introverts and extroverts of the world. So I don't expect everybody to do video, right? But people need to experience what you have.
And it's so dope. Like me and my wife, we love, you know, your music and stuff like that. And Christian loves it. Like, it's just amazing. You know? Just
Thank you so much. I think it speaks to the God that we serve, though, you know, because before we ever recorded the call, I remember my husband bringing the song to me, and it was written originally by my good friend in San Antonio, Sean Bird. And it ended up being a co-write because Holy Spirit did what he did in the recording session. But I remember telling my husband, you know, I don't know if this is enough song. You know, it was just so simple, you know. But I mean, just to look back at what our hearts and our prayers were going into the studio, even to record the call. And our prayer was, Lord, just let this touch somebody. Let this just draw someone into an encounter with you, and let them have a head-on collision with your love and your presence and all that you bring, you know. And you can hijack this session if you want to, you know. That was kind of our mind going into it. And my husband really felt so strongly that we needed to film it. So shout out to all the husbands who hear from heaven.
Yes.
Because sometimes, I mean, we could be carnal and sometimes we miss it, you know. And so I was so grateful for that, because we did that and we shared it with our friends and family on Facebook and on our social media pages. And we woke up the next morning and like it was just going viral. Like people were sharing.
It was,
you know, and it blew our minds. It was like, it just really said to us that if we just give God our obedience and our it's so simple, right?
That's it.
I mean, it's so simple.
It's like obedience requires sacrifice.
Yeah.
But not all sacrifice is obedient, right?
Where's the little Kevin Hart?
Right. All right. All right. Here we go. You know?
Yes.
You know?
That's
so
it.
If we got to have the right type of sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? So, and be obedient in that. Because if not, then, you know, you heading down a dark road. So
that's it.
Guys being obedient and sacrificial to that, and then God bless y'all. Like, I think that song is up to like 14 million at this point.
No, you're right.
You know,
it's amazing.
It's
but
crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's like, you know, in my mind, I'm like, that's all you wanted, Lord? Like,
right, that's it. That was it. And here's what's crazy. It's like with me, with Christian, it was like, I just wanted you to dance. That's it. Just dance for him. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. Like, you don't see me in my mind is about, I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna be dancing for Chris Brown and Leo and all these other cats or whatever. I'm gonna be choreographing on stage, and I want to choreograph and perform for 30,000 people in the stadium. God was like, why perform for 30,000 people in the stadium when I can have you speak and dance for the world? You know what I'm saying? Like,
we're so small. We're so small.
Right? We're so small-minded, and I'm like, dang, you right. And
exactly.
And when I was in a hospital with Christian, honestly, it was more so the videos started going out because, you know, I just wanted to make sure my family and friends knew that we're okay, we're keeping it positive. I didn't want anybody else to worry. That was the thing. I didn't want anybody else to worry. I wanted everybody to be on the same page we were and having a positive mindset. So that's why I really started doing the dances with Christian. And then the next thing you know, boom, like, oh my God, here's the dancing dad. And I'm like, who's the dancing dad? They like, you. Like, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, that's what's up, man. I'm the dancing dad now. But like you guys, like, it just blows your mind. Like,
it does.
That you just bless. And we're just talking about 14 million just on YouTube alone. We're not talking about the other platform that the song is on. Like, it's probably way beyond that. We can't even count. You know?
Same with you. And I feel like, you know, there's people we'll never know whose lives that we touched.
Never know.
And it's it's the goodness of God. Like you were saying, when you just give him your yes, like he will take that yes and do more. And that's what his word says, right? Exceedingly abundantly above all we could ever ask or even think. And so I think what's so beautiful even about what you did is you were wanting to make sure your family and friends were okay. You shared it, and it just began to bless the world. And it was so sincere.
Yeah.
You know, what you did was so sincere, but it was also anointed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anointed.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
They said that in the hospital that Christian was going to be getting weaker and weaker and weaker, right? And the fact that he was born with Down syndrome, you know, and he had low muscle tone and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He was only 17 pounds when he was getting chemo, and he was just a baby, right? Now, before we went into the hospital, Christian could not sit up by himself, right?
I remember that.
One weekend, boom, this little boy is pulling up by himself and sitting by himself. I'm like, with the chemo, and I'm like, ain't the chemo supposed to make him weaker?
Yes.
Right? But this is the difference. Like, when God is in control, God is in control of all things, and that includes
all
things. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, it was amazing to see. And they would say like, well, he's not going to be tired. He's not going to want to eat. My son didn't even miss a meal.
Ooh.
He didn't miss a meal. Like, if he didn't get his food, it was a problem. Right? And I'm like, yeah. So, you know, it just goes to show, man, like, guys, you got to just say yes. Just say yes. Just give you say yes. God, I surrender.
That's it.
Go in. Now, Isabel, you guys had a worship night this weekend, you know. Where can the people go to see the replay of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can actually go to my YouTube channel at I am Isabel Davis, ISABEL 1LDAVIS, or you can check out the Facebook page at I am Isabel Davis to replay it on either platform. And I just believe it's going to be a blessing to you. You know, this time was really set aside to just create space in your own life and in your own time to just usher the presence of the Lord into your atmosphere, and to really just help to change that atmosphere. As we all know, we need it, you know, daily at this time, you know. So, yeah, I would invite you to, you know, to share it.
Everyone check. Yeah, we definitely going to check that out. The description is going to be in the description. The links are going to be in the description below, guys. So make sure you guys go ahead and check that out. Now, Isabel, this is going to be the last question really quick.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So I asked all my guests this, and since the whole COVID-19 has been happening, the social injustice and things of that nature, and everything's been going on, right? Now we're entering the second half of 2020, right?
Yes.
6 months left until 2021, right?
Right.
What encouraging words do you say to the people to continue to get them forward, to keep them moving, to just continue to, you know, uplift their faith and things of that nature? Now, mind you, here's let me frame it real quick. You got all 7.5 billion people listening to only you right now. What does God tell you?
Wow, that's good. No pressure, right?
No pressure. You even got Trump too. We won't throw him in there.
You know what? It just it's the foundation for our lives. The Word of God is really where we are built up in our faith. And I feel like this season has really challenged so many, not just believers, but people in their faith, you know, and in what they're seeing can really cause things to become bleak. Right. Or what you were hoping to see this year and believing for. So I would just remind you, you know, to eclipse that fear with faith. And how do you do that? Faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of the Lord. So declare the word of the Lord over your life, you know, over your situation, over your now, you know, declare it, you know, hear it, you know, because as you hear it, your faith continues to grow. Your hope begins to come alive again. And then I just believe, you know, that we shift our atmosphere, as I said many times before, by just allowing for the presence of God to come in.
Right.
Do that. Do it daily. You know, sometimes I think that we're so set on, we have to set this amount of time aside to, you know, we have to create this moment and this, it has to be this long. No, God wants relationship with us. And if that looks like 15 minutes out of your morning and periodically throughout your day, I believe that God honors that. You know, relationship is really just about communication. It's not deep. It's just conversation with the Lord. You know, he wants to hear from us, just like in any relationship. You know, he wants our heart, but how do we build on that? We got to talk to each other. You know, tell our Father about your day and what you're feeling and what you're going through. And he wants to respond to that. And sometimes he can do it through his word. Sometimes, you know, through our spouses, our children. Oh my God, God speaks to me so much through my kids. Yes. But we can't hear them if our minds and our time is cluttered by noise. Yes. So tune out the negativity and just tune in to God's voice by setting time for him daily, whatever amount of time that you have or can make for that. I believe it'll shift everything in your life. So I would encourage you to do that. Make time of worship by creating altars in your life again. Stay in that word of God. Pray, intercede for our nation. It's what we're called to do. And I just believe God will transform everything that we're seeing. That he's a God of transformation, and he sees everything and he knows everything. So he wants to hear from you.
Let me tell you, the word shift has been flying in my household the past 3 weeks.
That's awesome.
And I'm just going to let this loose now because I believe God is just, you know, he's going to do it. That we're coming out with this program called Shift Makers. And the Shift Makers program to help people make that shift in their life, in their faith, in their marriage, in their finances, in, you know, in whatever it is that they're going through. You guys will be able to make this shift. So look out for Shift Makers. And I've been saying this a lot too. You know, people just, and this is what I did with everything that I do now. Yeah. I use my gift to make the shift, right? You got to use your gift to make the shift, right?
That's good.
And that's what's going to get you guys through. If you're going through something, I'm just piggybacking off what Isabel just said. If you're going through something right now, you're trying to get through, getting over the hump for 2020 and for the rest of this year, use your gift to make the shift, yo. That's the word right there, boy. That's the word right there. That's the word.
There it is.
Yes.
That's the word.
Yes. So check it out. So we're going to play a little game to end it off. Cool?
All right, let's do it.
All right, cool. So we're going to play In the Clutch. I'm Kenny Clutch, and we're going to play In the Clutch. Okay?
Okay.
So for those that don't know, okay, so all my new people that are here that are welcome in 2009 I created a company, my first dance company called In the Clutch Entertainment. So In the Clutch is an acronym, INDACLUTCH, right? Inspirational dancers creatively linking upon the culture of hip hop. So
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Acronym. So I'm going to give you a letter, right? And I'm going to change it up a little bit, right?
Okay.
For you. And you give me a biblical word that goes with that letter.
Ooh. Okay.
It could be a book. It could be a person. It could be whatever it is, something that goes with that letter. Cool?
With that acronym with the letter. Okay. Okay.
All right. Here we go.
All right.
C.
C, the letter C. Okay. Scripture says, cast your cares on him, for he cares for you. And I think right now it's so essential because we have so many burdens we're carrying right now. So we need that reminder that we don't have to carry them, that we could give them to God and he'll change everything when you just surrender the burden and exchange it for all that he has for you. So cast your cares on him.
Oh, okay. L. We're going to go with L.
L, okay. What comes to mind? Love comes to mind when you say L. Let's see. I'm going to use this scripture, even though it doesn't start with L, but there's a lot of L's in there. And it's 1 John 4:7 and 8. And it says, beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God, and everyone that loves is born of God and knows God. He that loveth not God, for God is love. And we need that word right now because we need more love. We've got to remember that if we carry the Father's heart, we're called to love one another.
Amen.
And we're all part of the human race. And so we have to see each other.
There we go. There we go.
We got to see people through the lens of God, God's eyes, with the same filters that God has. And that's a loving heart because he's a loving Father. So love God, love people.
Here we go. So we got C, we got L. Here we go. U.
All right. Let's see. Who do I think of when I think of you, or what? Oh, that one. You got me on that one. Let's see. One. Okay.
Uzziah.
All right. Come on.
Yeah. Uzziah.
That's a good one.
Uzziah. I only say that because that's my son's middle name as well, too.
Oh, I love that.
As a leader, I'm like, that's a wounded soldier. I'm not going to criticize that guy because I'm a leader. So my job as a leader is to be like, hey, dude, I get you. What's happened with you? How you in such a negative state, bro? I literally think of somebody that hates on somebody else. I'm like, poor person, man.
Bro,
something's up with this guy.
And you know what's funny you say that, man, because it's what we say all the time, like hurt people, right? And, and I remember, last summer I'm driving down Route 130 near my house. Going into the shop, right? And as I'm going in, I'm coming around this circle. There's a dude that's on a Harley Davidson, right? Pretty old guy, middle-aged look like. And I'm like maybe 20 feet away from him. I'm behind him, he's in front. Now, on the side of the mirror, it says objects seem closer than they appear. So as I'm coming around, he felt that I was going to hit him, and I wasn't. But dude, this is my car. This is his motorcycle, right? So I'm coming around and he starts cursing at me. Flip me the bird, everything, like just going in, right? And I'm like, wow, man, this dude is angry, man. Like this dude is angry. Like you don't even know me and you just want to throw.
I always say that, Kenneth.
Right? Crazy. Yeah. So this is what I did, bro. I followed him.
You're crazy, bro. I already know you're crazy. You're crazy, bro. You just followed a guy that's on a Harley Davidson.
Yeah.
You're crazy.
I followed this guy to his parking spot and I blocked him in. You know what I'm saying? Blocked him into his parking spot. I rolled the window down, right? Roll the window down. And I said, "Excuse me, sir." Gets off his bike. He starts, his helmet fumbled. He dropped it. Glasses fumbled, dropped it. Necklace came off. Phone, everything dropped because he was startled. He didn't think that I was going to sit there and come up to him and follow him and block him in. So he goes and starts cursing at me and all this. Said, "You're coming around all fast. I'm on a bike. You need to watch where you're going." And all this. And I just let him go. But he went on like a 2-minute rant. And I stopped and said, "Excuse me, sir. Can I say something?" I said, "I was never going to hit you, man." I was like, I had complete control of the car. I was never going to hit you. I said, "You're my brother, man." I said, "I love you. I was never going to hit you. I love you. I was never going to hit you, man." I said, "I'm conscious of my brothers and sisters that are on this road." You know what I'm saying? I said, "I got a family too, and I understand. So I'm careful. But it may seem like I was closer than what I had appeared. So I'm saying, listen, bro, like, I love you, man." And then he stopped and he was like, "Yo, man, I apologize. Like, I'm sorry. I just get nervous. And I'm like, "Dude, if you're that nervous, maybe you shouldn't be driving a Harley Davidson, brother." So, but the point is that, you know, when you see somebody that is hurt, you know what I'm saying? The only thing that can heal that is love at the end of the day. Like Martin Luther King said it best, like, hate can't drive out hate, only love can do that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you are a person that's listening to this right now, you know, the next time somebody is coming at you with all this negativity, you got 2 choices. Either you can throw, you know, hate back at them. Actually, 3 choices. You can ignore them, you can throw hate back at them, or you can proceed with love at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, I want to shift gears a little bit. I want to talk about, you know, your world-class sales agency that you started. So how did that come about?
Well, I was training a whole bunch of sales individuals in different industries: real estate, entrepreneurs, insurance reps, medical reps, B2B reps. And as I was doing that when I was young, then I used age as kind of my crutch. Some people would cripple them, and then people were kind of curious, like, what's this kid doing teaching sales? So they were actually curious, and I started getting gigs because they're like, "Yo, we like this kid's energy. He's so young." I didn't use it as like, "Oh, I'm 23, I can't go speak and stuff." I'm like, "Yo, hone in the young energy. Hone it in." People, like, it's going to be different from every old guy that's in a suit and tie training sales, because I know what my audience wants. They don't want that boring thing. Like, I would go on stage kind of in a freaking hoodie. Yeah. To a corporate executive stage with guys that are 65, and I'd already tell them what they're thinking. It was a whole part of my thing. I'm like, "Listen, you guys are already judging me straight off the bat." And then I went into the whole thing. I'm like, it doesn't matter. No matter what I come up here and dress, you guys are going to judge me no matter what, but it doesn't matter what I'm wearing. It matters what's going to come out of my mouth. So I had a whole different sway coming into the business. I used age as my crutch. That's how I got into speaking and everything. But I started speaking on all these stages, and I realized there's a lot of coaches and mentors and thought leaders in this space, guys like you interview, and they have masterminds, they have programs. So then I said this, I'm like, wait, why don't I take the trained sales guys that are coming through my courses and partner them up with people that are coaches in the space that need closers for their course? Boom. So I just became, and I was the only person that did it about 2-3 years ago. I became that go-to person when somebody needs a closer as a salesperson. They would go hit up Daniel. They'd be like, "Yo, I need a salesperson. Dan, you have a sales closer for my program?" Because coaches don't want to sell their own stuff. So they'd call me up and they'd be like, "Hey, Dan, do you have a closer that you can outsource?" So I train the guy and outsource him, and I give him to the guy, and I take a little commission, and then the coach would just use him.
Wow, that's genius, yo. Yeah, freaking genius, man. So now I seen you online the other day. I think it was on one of your lives, and you were giving advice on how to close people and how to sell them, and you were talking about, you know, people like the old school mentality, like the follow up. You know, so for that young entrepreneur that's listening right now, you know, if you can give them any type of advice or whatever, like, what was your advice, you know, to on that live talking about, you know, don't follow up, close it in that one call?
Right. My thing was this. I'm like, nobody really wants to, like, say you have a business proposal or you want to pitch somebody something and you get on a phone call with them. Like, the norm, the old sales training thing was to be like, follow up 8 times before you get a deal. I'm like, listen, that's like nails to a chalkboard. That's where people get discouraged because nobody wants to follow up 8 times. Nor does the other person on the other end want to be checked in on 8 times. I said, like, nobody wants, I don't want somebody calling me 14. Like, if I'm ready to do a deal, I will probably text a sales rep and be like, "Bro, I'm ready."
Right.
So why does it come to a sales rep text me, Daniel, or dude, if I was ready, I would message you if I was ready, right? So the point comes to this. For the generic answer on closing a deal on a phone call, yes, I firmly believe that you should focus on closing the deal on the first phone call and get the follow-up out of your head. Don't make it an option, even though knowing it's going to happen in situations, you're going to have to follow up with people. Sure, as the ticket price goes up, as you buy a house, it's not going to, the real estate agent's not going to close me on one deal. It's going to happen. But the point of this is to get on a phone call and ask as many questions as possible on that phone call, because that's what sales is. It's 80% of you asking questions, 20% of you talking. It's 80% of you listening, right? So the generic answer is this. You get on the phone call, you uncover everything that all those persons needs, their pain points, everything, all their goals, their struggles, their challenges, you uncover it all and you try to slam in as much value as possible on that phone call, right? To help and solve their problem and to make sure that they understand that value, because deals don't get closed. Like, to make sure, be like, hey, listen, you constantly got to close on the phone call. You constantly got to keep trying to close on the phone call, because when somebody tells you they're not interested, that just means they haven't seen enough value. And when somebody tells you they don't have money, that just means the perceived value of your program or your offer or your business has not overcome the price of what they're going to invest. So when somebody tells me, hey, dude, let me think about it. Dude, when they were at the store, when they went to go buy Yeezys, they didn't think about it. They just went to go buy it. When they went to the store to go buy Yeezys, they had the money, but now all of a sudden they don't have the money. So it's not about having the resources, it's about becoming resourceful. So I say this, I'm like, listen, it's not that they're not interested or they don't have the money or they need to think about it. It's that you didn't question them to be like, hey, I got you. Instead of saying, okay, I'll follow up with you next week. Be like, hey, let me ask you a question. What is it exactly you need to think about? Let me ask you a question. When you say you don't have the money, what do you mean by that? Well, times are rough right now. I think, honestly, Daniel, I think I could find your mattresses at Walmart for 50% cheaper. Oh, so it's not that you didn't have the money. It's that you seen value somewhere else. But now I got to get back into the sale and be like, let me tell you why people shop at Costco rather than Walmart.
Right.
But I would have never known that if I didn't ask another question.
Wow.
So the follow-up can stop when you start really becoming empathetic, because that's what sales is all about. It's about you taking your shoes off, putting yourself in the buyer's position, becoming empathetic with them, and truly understand their point of view. Oh man, if you would have told me if you would have told me it was a price battle between this and this, let me show you exactly why, people love our matches, and boom, you get back into the sale.
Wow. That's freaking genius, bro. Because now you're pretty much like just killing off like the whole old school mentality. I mean, we are in 2020. It is like a new way of doing things, And what I love about you, man, is that you're not letting your youthfulness, be an excuse for your ineffectiveness, And many people are like, they're saying like, oh, they're too young. I'm too young to do this, or I'm too young to do that. And me, I'm a spiritual guy, and I'm into the Bible a lot, into Christianity. And what I learned is that there were guys that are in the Bible like Jonah or Timothy. These are young guys that, were supposed to go out and preach and speak, and they ran from their call. Well, Jonah ran from his calling, until, he got trapped into a corner. What do you say to the young people before they even get trapped into that corner? Like, what is your advice to them? Like to be a go-getter and go for it, like now, like stop waiting and stop listening to, the old school mentality. What's the new wave?
Yeah. Listen, I mean, there's a kid out there that's 17-year-old, that's 17, that just created a multi-million-dollar app. Or there's a 19-year-old out there that just created a billion-dollar program. Nobody judged him when he created the program. They were judging him prior to it, but they didn't judge him after it. Right. Because here's the deal. You being so young is actually, like, you being young right now is leverage in the society. There's no more thing about, like, let's try to neglect the thing about age. Because when somebody comes on my live stream and they're like, well, I'm only 18 now. I'm like, dude, why did you say that? Why did you say that? When you came on my podcast, when you came on my live stream and I beamed you in, why did you start with, well, I'm only 19 years old. So I'm like, dude, I wasn't even thinking of that until you told me that. And I know you tell yourself that. I'm like, I don't care. Show me what you could do. I don't care about how old you are. If you got a skill set, but I'm like, don't set yourself a limiting belief, because now more than ever, the smarter entrepreneurs that are older now are like, yo, what can I learn from the young guys?
Yeah.
Like, what can I learn from the young guys? It's the young guys that are making the movement and stuff like that. It's the young guys that are changing the game. Mark Zuckerberg created Facebook out of his dorm room.
Right.
Nobody cares about his age. Youngest billionaire, whatever it was, or like Kylie Jenner, youngest billionaire. Like, who cares about the age? Don't use it. Like, the first thing I say to this is neglect it out of your mind. Like, don't even think about your age. Start thinking about the skill set that you could build. Because I'll tell you guys one thing: for the people that are young out here, and you guys think you're discouraged by, like, trust me, I went to go speak. I remember on sales stages, and I used to have sales guys in the back. You know, they'd be like, "Oh, Dan, why should you be on the stage? You look 25 years old, and I have 25 years worth of experience." I'm like, "No, sir." I'm like, "You got 1 year of experience repeated for 25 years. You've been doing the exact same thing for 25 years. That doesn't mean you have 25 years experience. You've been doing 1 year of experience repeated for 25 years. So don't get discouraged by people's age, because it doesn't mean anything. Like, it just means they could be doing the same. It doesn't mean, like, and I knew there was flaws. I'm like, my mom isn't smarter than me. I've learned so many more skill sets than my mom has, and she's been around for 50, 60 years. It doesn't mean she's smarter than me. Right? I just say scrap the whole age thing. Just get it out of your head before you start working the uphill battle, because the battle's in your mind first. Like, you got to get it out of your head before somebody else.
Talk about it, bro. Talk about. Listen, I say this is my slogan, man. When we change the mind, we change the game. You know what I'm saying? And I say this all the time. When we change the mind, we change the game. What are some of the books that have helped you, you know, get to this level, to have this mentality?
Yeah, I mean, the first book I've ever read in the industry was How to Win Friends and Influence People. It was a great business book. And then I read another amazing book called Think and Grow Rich, which probably you recommend. It was an amazing book because it has different chapters of life, whether it's faith, whether it's business, whatever it is. There's so many amazing chapters in that book. And then the third book, which I think really shifted my perspective. He's a pastor. His name's Erwin McManus, and he has a book called The Way of the Warrior. And it's a phenomenal book. And I like that you said you're into faith, because some people, that are watching this, that are in business and aren't into faith, you wouldn't believe how much comes from spirituality and mixes back into business. Because I never knew that. I'm like, every time I knew things were wrong in my life, because every time I hit a low into business, I would then go seek faith. I would then go be like, every time I hit a low, then I'd be like, God, help me.
Right.
I'm like, wait, why aren't they? And then fair enough. And then, something happens and I get back on my feet, and then I stop doing what, and I'm like, oh, the foundation to everything is faith. Before purpose, before goals, and before targets, that's your thing. That's like something that nobody can ever strip away from you, is the faith. It's going to be that's the foundation of everything. So, and I say this to people, I'm like, listen, like, guys, you have no clue, because Kenneth asked on the beginning of this podcast, what can people do? There's opportunity passing you by every single day. Like you don't know, like on this podcast, I dropped a couple things where I'm like, nobody has ever came up to me and said, Daniel, let me handle this for you. There's opportunity. Like, God literally puts an opportunity in front of you every single day. Like I said, but some people choose to ignore the signals from God, ignore the signals from the universe. I said this on a live stream this week. I said, remember the movie when you had The Pursuit of Happiness with Jaden Smith and Will Smith? And I said, Will Smith looks at his father. Jaden Smith looks at his father and he's like, Dad, can I tell you a story? Cue Jaden Smith. And Will Smith is like, yeah. He's like, so there was this man, right? Do you remember that story? Yep. He was like, there was this man, right? He was drowning in the ocean, Dad. Mm-hmm. And this boat comes by to save him. Mm-hmm. And the boat's like, come on board, sir, come on board. And then the man, Dad's like, no, don't worry, God will save me. And the boat goes by. Mm-hmm. And then another boat comes by. And they're like, sir, jump on board. And he's drowning, the man in the ocean. He's like, Dad, he told the other boat, don't worry, God will save me. You guys don't get it. And the boat's like, this guy's crazy. So the next boat goes by. 5 minutes later, the man drowns. He goes to heaven. He's like, God, why didn't you save me? And God's like, I sent you 2 big boats, you dummy.
Yeah.
That was me trying to save you. Oh. He's like, I sent you Kenneth. I sent you Daniel. I gave you opportunities, but you chose to ignore it. Yeah. That was me trying to save you out of your situation. But you weren't grateful for the opportunities that were knocking on your door every single day.
Yo, drop some bombs right there. I got to get some equipment. Y'all got to donate to the podcast so I can get some bombs up in this joint, yo. Dog, that's crazy, yo, because honestly, that was me, and it was just like time after time, I get into these situations, and I grew up in the church, right? I grew up in the church, and then, throughout my 20s, dude, I was not in church at all. Like I didn't get back into church till I was like 29, 30 years old, right? And then it started to hit me like, oh snap, like seek him first. And then all these things will come unto you. You know what I'm saying? It is the foundation. I can sit here and build a house, and this is what I learned in architecture school. You can build a house or whatever without a foundation, but that house is going to blow down. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like if a storm hits, that house without a real foundation, it's coming down. So it's better to build a house on a rock than build a house on sand at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? But we want to always take the easy route and say, okay, I'm gonna just build a house on sand. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's easier. I don't feel like climbing up the rocks. I don't feel like doing all that. I may get hurt. You know, we're scared, right? People are scared. People are in fear. And even right now during COVID-19, you know, during the whole, you know, pandemic, people are in fear. And the average worker is, you know, maybe not working, out of jobs. You know, many people have lost their jobs right now. In your personal opinion, you know, as someone that, you know, young, motivating, what's the pivot move for those people
that are in fear right now?
Yeah.
I think there's two things. I think, again, I'm going to say this because we said at the beginning of the podcast, I think the first message was this, to think of, I feel like a lot of people have been lied to from society. Like whatever people thought was so safe and secure, right, isn't so safe and secure in life, because something like this comes around and it says like, hey, listen, whatever you thought when you've been lied to that your 9 to 5 is so safe and secure, look what can happen when something bad happens like this. But I think the real lesson in what happened is that I feel like this had to happen, bro. As sad as this sounds, and I'm not saying by any means like the deaths and stuff, people getting sick, no.
Really, yeah.
But what I meant, of course not, no. But what I'm saying, what had to happen is like, I feel like God had to humble people out.
Yep.
Because I feel like there was some people that thought other people were better than them.
Yeah.
And other people thought that they were better than other individuals. And then God said this, okay, I'm going to put Drake at home. I'm going to put Ellen at home. I'm going to put Oprah at home. And everybody is going to be in quarantine and everybody's going to be equal. So nobody's better than nobody. I'm going to sit everybody at home and watch. Like, dude, Kenneth is doing the same thing as Oprah's doing. Oprah's doing the same thing as my 14-year-old cousin's doing. Everybody is just human. Yeah. And I think the lesson in this was to be like, yo, now everybody has to work as a team. Yeah. Like now is the time to get on Zoom calls and build businesses as a team. Now is the time to call up your friends and be like, yo, now we have to be a team. Nobody, like, it's not competition anymore. It's collaboration.
Yeah.
Competition doesn't work out. Right? Dude, the shift. I was just talking to my friend. She grew up in New York. She's like, you know what? New York's going down the hole again. You want to know where New York was amazing? I'm like, when? She's like, when the 9/11 happened. And she's like, after all that tragic moment happened, she's like, there was something in the air and the energy in New York where everybody just came together.
Right.
She's like, and then after that, there was humanity. There's humility in people. They all came together, worked together to build back up the city. And I'm like, boom, it's the same thing of right now. I'm like, now people are starting to love, call one another. I'm like, use this time to build a team, to build more culture. Don't start competing with people. Learn how to transact with people. Don't think profits, think people over profits right now. Think of how you could build a business. Again, start learning a skill set and how to build a business online that can serve other people right now. So it cooks into something. And even if it only brings you an extra $500 a month, at least that's something extra. And who knows, maybe if the COVID lasts 6 months, a year, 3 months, at least you have that in. And by the time your job hits in 6 months again, you might already have a fully sustainable business.
Right.
And the answer, the kicker is this.
Yeah.
Don't say, oh, Dan, but by that time, it might take 2 years to build a business. And then I'm going to be 27. I'm like, okay, so if you choose not to work hard and start a business now, how old are you going to be in 2 years anyhow? Well, 27. So would you rather be 27 without your passion project that's done or your side business that's done and with some money in your pocket? Or would you rather just be broke, busted, and disgusted and not doing anything? Or would you rather do something because you're going to be 30 anyhow?
Right.
You're going to be that age anyhow. So you might as well do something on the side.
Yeah, facts.
Right? So you might as well just do it. Right. I just feel like right now is this time for just be so blessed that you have been given time to spend with people and to create something new that you've always wanted to do.
Dude, and it's like this, man. I'm gonna add on to that, yo. Like,